Hey y'all, it's Drew Baldridge and you're watching Kurt's Country on NewsNation.
Hey everybody, Kurt Bardella here with this week's edition of Kurt's Country on NewsNation, and I'm here with an artist that I have been a big fan of for many years. He actually was at an event that I threw back a couple years in Vegas called Hangover Fest, night before the ACM Awards, and he is having a real moment right now in the country music industry. A historic song that has completely changed, I think, the trajectory of his career and probably life. Drew Baldridge. Drew, thanks for being here
Hey,
with me, man.
man, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for having me.
So, this is a song that you put out, and what people may not know here that's watching, Drew is a completely independent, self-funded artist. He's not part of a label or some part of conglomerate or industry-driven ecosystem. He's someone who has, put out his own music his own way. And the fact that his song hit number one on the country charts is something that we've never seen before from an independent artist. And it has him now going out on tour with the likes of Cody Johnson coming up, who's as big as they get right now in
Yeah,
country music.
it's
Drew,
crazy.
just talk to us about the journey of this song and how you saw it build and grow.
Yeah, this has been, and first off, thanks so much for having me, Kurt. Appreciate you. You've always just had my back for so long. I've been in Nashville for 13 years, man, of chasing a dream, trying to write songs, trying to write songs that meant something to somebody. And this is a song I actually wrote all the way back in 2018, and
Oh, wow.
we put it out on. I had a record deal from 2015, I think, or 2016 to 2019, and the record company I was on, well, I actually put it out with them all the way back in 2019, and it was 3 months after putting the song out, the record label closed, and it just sit on Spotify, and nobody talked about it. It just sit there. I didn't really talk about it, and me and my wife got married 2021, and it was always her favorite song. So I thought, man, I'm going to make a special wedding version just with a piano and a cello that she can dance to with her dad because it was a special song for me and her. I kind of wrote it, after meeting her dad. And so I just made that wedding version just so she could dance to it with her dad. And, she danced to it at our wedding. I sat side stage. I cried. It was awesome. It was like, man, what a special moment for us. And we went on our honeymoon, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to just post it on TikTok and just say something like, hey, if this gets, 5,000 likes, I'll put it out on Friday, knowing it was already coming out on Friday and just hoping it would get some likes. And I posted it on our honeymoon. I never thought much of it. And I woke up the next day and it had almost 10 million views on,
Wow.
and I was like, oh my goodness, this is insane. And then all these videos started being made with the sound. There was one girl, I'll never forget it. She said it was like her standing in the mirror. It was just a picture of her. And she said, boys, listen to these lyrics. And she acted out the first verse like she's more than just a pretty face in a late night bar. It was her in a bar with a friend, and it's like more in pair tight jeans in her car, and she's in a car. And then the whole chorus was her growing up with her dad. And I sit and watch this video, and it brought me to tears. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so powerful. Like, I didn't even think of this. I didn't even think of viral songs. I just was trying to make
Hmm.
something that meant something to my wife. And I watched that video get a couple million views, and I was like, well, maybe I can. I see people like duetting this, kind of like what we're doing right now, like both faces on a screen. And I was like, well,
Oh, yeah.
I'll duet the video. And that was my first ever duet. So I duetted it. I was like, check this out. This is special. Then it started a whole daughter trend where girls all around the world, from France to Mexico to languages I didn't know of, showing them growing up with their dad. And before long, over the course of a year, I didn't really know what it was doing. I just saw it impacting on socials, and it was streaming. I lost a record deal in that time. I lost a manager and a booking agent just because I didn't have a record deal,
Right.
and it was COVID. And so I
Yeah.
was posting on social media just saying, I'll play in anybody's backyard that wants to have me, because I didn't have a way to make money. And so I was going around the country. I think we ended up playing like 300 and some people's backyards during that
Wow.
course of time of just going from one town to the next. I remember when I landed from my honeymoon, my tour manager picked me up in our van and we played 20 shows in 19 days in people's backyards. And it was just one after another. One night we did two of them in the same night, and it was just the most special tour ever. But I saw this song reacting with people in like a special way, and I saw it on social media reacting, and I thought I would get a call from every record label in Nashville. Nobody did. Nobody.
Hmm.
I had a shot, and Nashville's kind of a one-shot town. Like,
Right.
hey, you get a chance, you get a record deal, you put a couple songs out. If they don't work, we're moving on to the next thing, which I get. I
Yeah.
get on the business side, like it makes sense. It's not working. We're not investing money in this. And I got sitting back and I was like, man, this song has 100 million streams and there's no playlisting. There's no, we're not on the biggest playlist on Spotify. It's just people reacting to it. So I just started calling radio friends and I was like, hey, I did a bunch of radio tours when I was on my old record label.
Hmm.
I was just like, I got a song. I think it's pretty good. Like it's streaming pretty good. Like, am I crazy to think I could send this to radio by myself? And they're all like, man, you're crazy. But we like the song and we think that you could end up with some radio play. And I was like, well, who would you hire? Who do you love that's out of a job? Because all these labels were restructuring in Nashville.
Yeah.
And so, man, I just hired my own staff of people that they loved. And on August 23rd of last year, I sent the song to radio and said, hey, I'm going to go for ads. This is the
That's the
day.
official ad date.
Yep. And I was like, hey, I think we got 18 stations, something like that, 20 stations, 23 maybe. And
Hmm.
was kind of off to the races. And I was like, I don't know. Everybody was coming to me, was like, what's your plan out of this? And I was like, man, if I could get top 40, I've never been top 40. Like, I really believe I can get top 40 and say I'm a top 40 country artist, and along the
Yeah.
way, my publisher that I was with, they're all like, man, I bet if you get top 40, a label will jump on. And I was like, okay. So I worked for 7, 8 months, of trying to just inch it by inch it and trying to get radio to believe in a team and something that's never been done before. And finally we broke top 50. And then weeks later we broke top 40. And I'm like, okay, where's all the labels calling? Nobody is. Um, so I got top 40. Then I called and I was like, man, remember, I thought you said all these labels were going to call. And they're like, man, I guarantee you, you get top 30, they're all going to call. They're all going to call top 30. So I get top 30 and I'm like, where's the help? What's going on? And then I get top 20 and I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm gonna try this now. I'm just gonna take it the rest of the way with my team. And everybody's always asked, it's been a lot of fun to they ask how we do it. And I was like, man, it's the song has been
Mhm.
carrying the weight. And it's been so fun. Like getting the number one was like such a surreal moment because that's not at all what I had in mind that I could do that
Right.
even. It was a God blessing. It was a God thing.
Because
But
it's like an audacious thing to sit there and go, I'm going to do what's never been done ever.
yeah, yeah. And
You're
to
like,
me,
I'm happy if it's just in the top 40.
yeah, I'm happy if it's a top 40, but it just kept growing. I think the coolest thing is that this was a number one for the whole community because
Yeah.
it, for all artists, it shows if you don't give up and you have the right song and you believe in something, you can still do it. You can still have a
Yeah.
career. And for me, yes, we all wanted number one songs, but for me, it was like, I just want to provide for my family. At
Right.
this time, I had a son that wasn't even a year old. I had a wife. I'm investing all the money we're making off streaming. I'm dumping it back into this for my dream and hopes that we create a little more buzz, that I can still have a music career for them and for my life.
Yeah.
And now it's like the amount of independent artists that I talk to on the daily of reaching out of like, hey man, can we talk? Can we hop on a phone call? Can you just shoot me a message? It's the coolest thing on the planet. Like, man,
Yeah.
just to know that just a little insight of like, hey, you do this and this could help. And I've learned a lot from failure of it not working
Yeah.
and diving in the trenches and figuring it out.
Well, I mean, it's like there are very few things in life, whatever your vocation and profession is, where you get to say, I was the first to do something. Not many people in life get to say that about anything.
Yeah,
And
that's
for all time, for whatever happens next, whoever comes after you, you are the standard bearer of what success can look like through grit, hard work, timing, talent, all of it coming together in the right proportions and ingredients. to do something. And for people watching who don't know this about how this industry works, most artists are on a label: Sony, Universal, Warner, Big Machine, BBR, whatever. They put out a song to country radio. They have an entire team, an entire staff built to promote that record, to call every radio station in America to ask them to add that song to their playlist. They have resources they can do. Please add this record. Oh, by the way, we'll make sure you get to go to the Tim McGraw concert, to the Luke Combs concert, to the Morgan Wallen concert. We'll make sure this artist plays your radio show's benefit, in December. They have a lot of tools that can help, make it a little bit easier to have the relationship with the people who make those decisions. When you are independent, you don't have that infrastructure. You don't have those goodies to be able to dole out. All you have is a dream and a song. And for you to pull off what you did, and a song that apparently has a 5-year journey. I didn't know that it was actually initially released in 2019. That blows my mind that this is a 5-year story, really. They call Nashville a 10-year town. This story was 5 years of it right there. My God, it
Yeah.
is awesome, man. I'm so happy for you.
Well, thanks, Kurt. And just like you said, it's like I said, it's so cool to know if you have a song that you believe in it and you see people reacting to it, that you can get. I think the hardest thing for so long is that you always felt like radio was impossible. And it's like radio doesn't want to play songs by independent artists. And that's not the case anymore. They just want to play great music and they want to play songs that people react to. And I remember, coming into this and radio just being like, man, well, we can't. Some people would be like, it's an independent, like this makes no sense. You're not going to last a couple weeks. Like, why would we invest in something? And I would just say, hey, if you're not going to play it, just test it. I bet it
Yeah.
tests better than half the stuff you're playing because it's been out and it's streaming, it's on TikTok, it's all these things, and it would just test and test. And I'm just very blessed, man, that this happened. And now, that's turned into multiple blessings. I had I did this with no manager, no
Right.
booking agent, no, it was just me. I had a publisher, which was great, but it was just my like figuring out, oh, this didn't work. Let me try this now and see if this works. And so, once we got about top 15, top 10, I now have a manager, which is awesome, and a booking agent, which I'm not alone. And it's
Yeah.
just so great. Like last night, my day-to-day manager come over here and we were sitting here and we was like, man, if I would have told you a year ago when you started this that you would be the first artist to ever self-fund their first number one, to go out that you just announced today that you're going out on tour with Cody Johnson, one of the biggest artists in the format, and you got a new song, and we just got to work with one of the biggest, video directors in Nashville, and we had the video done yesterday,
Oh,
and
wow.
we're talking, maybe we'll partner with a label and like have our own label partner with another one. And it's just like, if you would have told me that a year ago, I'd be like, you're freaking full of crap. There is no way that's going to happen, man. There is no way we're going to like fall flat on our faces in the 40s. Like, there is no way. And so I'm just sitting back and just feeling really blessed, Kurt. Like today,
Yeah.
of all days, of just like knowing all the things that we have going on in our life now and just trying to stay, not lose my mind with all of it and just not feeling like an imposter because it doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like this is happening to it shouldn't happen to me. Just because I've seen my friends go through it and they're all
Sure.
succeeding. And then I'm like, when am I going to have a shot? Now we are getting a shot and I just feel really blessed and it just doesn't feel real.
Well, I mean, I wonder too what it must have been like to get that call that, hey, Cody Johnson's going out on tour. He's putting out the Leather Deluxe album. Uh, he wants you on that tour with him. Uh,
Man, let me tell you
wow.
this. When I got that call, I was at a 16-year-old's birthday party playing a backyard. And,
Oh,
I still had some backyards that we stayed true to that we would do. And we've done them up until, I mean, I still have one next month that I'm going to play in a couple people's backyards just because I've had them booked for a year. And I said I was going to do
mhm.
it. So I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting in the rental car and I got a call and said, hey, you ready to go out on tour with Cody Johnson? and I was crying and I was screaming. I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" I freaking out, and I'm just thinking like, "How am I going to go in here and sit and play in this 16-year-old's birthday party? Like, I can't even function right now." And it's just so funny, and it was just so also such like a moment of like, this is what got us here, of like playing people's backyards, and I laugh about it now because we get to play Bridgestone in February, which is
Yep.
like every artist's dream. It's the arena in Nashville, and I was joking. I was like, "Man, we need to do a party before Bridgestone, call it Backyards to Bridgestone, and just
Yeah.
like do something fun, just to know that
Oh,
Backyards
I'm coming to that.
really started this." So it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I'm so happy for you. Again, it really is a feel good story that just shows that if you stick to your dreams and you always believe, and in whatever profession you're in,
Yeah,
you have to believe, because no one will ever believe more than you do. And if someone believes more than you do, you're not going to make it. I've always believed that as a talent, and as someone who does what I do for a living out here. Um, it is such a great testament, I think, to how you're wired. And I love that other artists are looking to you now as kind of that role model, and going to you for advice. Like that's got to be a
well,
great feeling.
I don't think it's so much as a role model as it just like, man, how did you get there? And a lot of them, I just tell them like, man, just don't give up. If you believe in that song, you believe in something, like chase it. And I think also at the end of this, the coolest thing that's been so special is just like, just be nice to people. Like that's
Yeah.
the biggest win that I've seen along this journey is, um, my goal was throughout the careers, I tried my best not to frustrate people, or if I felt like people were frustrated with me, to try to figure that out and make right of it. And so when we got to go to radio and we got to do these things, and people were pulling for us to win, like, hey, he's the good guy, he's the good guys
Yeah.
can still win. And I tell that to a lot of artists too. And if there's an artist on here that's listening to this, like, be good to people no matter who they are. Like, you don't know what they're going to be one day, but just in general, just be good to people, because I just think it goes further than you ever know, because you're not even going to know one day how that's going to pay off, of like, hey, Drew met our daughter when she was going through a rough time, and then all of a sudden that's why you're getting an opportunity to do something else. And I just think, be good to people. Relationships in this community matter a lot, and
Yep.
you got to be a good soul. And if you're not being a good soul, people are really gonna figure that out quick. And especially if you're an independent artist with not a lot of people to help, and trying to run a business as an artist is very difficult, because most of the times you're not the one that has to make the call to the radio station.
Yep.
And I remember there's several times when they're like, well, there's a problem going on, we just need to hear from one person, and that's Drew, because we know he's running this. And I'm like, oh
Yep.
crap. So I have to call the
Yep.
station and figure it out. There's not some other team that's helping you out with that. And so, I think that is a big deal, is treating people how you want to be treated. I know that sounds so corny, but um, that's a real life lesson that I think we can all try to practice daily.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Well, Drew, thanks for taking some time to share your story with us. I'm personally just so proud of you. We all can't wait to see you out on the road with Cody Johnson, and early 2025, I think, is when that tour kicks off. And so I also I can't wait to see this music video that you
Yeah,
got working
man.
on. That's
Yeah.
gonna be awesome.
We got a new song. Hopefully, it'll be out in October or early November. We'll be going to radio, all that fun stuff. And I always joke, it's like, man, we got to do it again. We got to start over and do this thing
Run it
again. Get
back.
another
Just
hit.
run it back.
Run it fast, baby. But it's so fun to think, hey, we get to put out a new song with a great team. I don't have to do it alone, and we're going out on tour with Cody Johnson to set it up. And we have a lot of other fun stuff in 2025 lined out that we can't even talk about yet. That's going to be really exciting. So, go give us a follow on our socials at Drew Baldridge Music, and you can see all the updates of things that we're going to be doing over the course of the next couple months.
All right, brother. Well, I will see you soon. I'm definitely gonna make sure I get out to Bridgestone for that.
Come
That's gonna be
on.
awesome.
Come on, bro. It'll be awesome. Thanks,
All
Kurt.
right, everyone. This is First Country only on News Nation. We'll see you next week.